Hi everyone, I'm back with all things lymph, and just wanted to share with you a little bit of information about the symptoms of long haulers COVID, and I thought I would start with this article about Amy Watson. She was the one who started long haul COVID fighters, and that's how COVID-19 survivors, how they ended up with the nickname long haulers. So all of the COVID survivors that have continued symptoms, they call them long haulers because of her group, long haul COVID fighters. So she is a long hauler herself, and so I thought that was interesting and wanted to share that with you. But also what I found interesting was in this article, it talks about Survivor Corps who did a survey, and in that survey they have 98 symptoms of long haul COVID. So I thought I would share that report with you, and let me get over here. And okay, so here's that report, and in this report they have all the COVID symptoms listed that everybody that participated in this report that they surveyed, they listed all of those symptoms out. So I thought this is a good thing for everybody to look at if you're a long hauler. If you think you might be a long hauler, this is a good one to look at as well, because you can see, do I fit this scenario? Do I have these symptoms after having COVID? And you don't have to have all of them. It's just some people have a few of them, some people have more. It just depends. But anyway, I thought this was interesting. So they also listed in the survey, which was good, they had the CDC recognizes 11 symptoms, so they did put that, and that's right here, CDC government website, and then they have the symptoms to watch for. So that's the ones that the CDC recognizes. Now, that's obviously not all the symptoms, because long haulers have those symptoms and more, and or a combination of varying symptoms in this, under this umbrella. So what they did is in the pink here, they have the pink is the ones that the CDC recognizes. All the blue is everything that, all the symptoms that the participants reported having. So anyway, that chart is in this report, and I will put all this information that I'm going to put in this video today. I'll put it in the description box so that you guys can look at this yourselves. But it also lists it quarterly, so symptoms that started coming around, what time period after the person had COVID were these symptoms noticed. So that's also in there. And then they have a chart for all the symptoms that caused pain. A lot of the long haul COVID patients, myself included, we have pain. So joint pain, muscle pain, neck pain, arm pain. So anyway, there's a chart for that. And then they also have the symptoms listed by the long haulers as far as which ones are the most prevalent. You can look at those. And then they have at the end here, I think that's the end. So anyway, this will also be in the description box for you guys to look at. This was an article that I found that I thought was really, really interesting, because it lists 11 atypical signs for lymphatic congestion. Because again, if you watched my first videos that I put out for my protocol that I'm using to get over long haul COVID, I talked about how my lymph system is congested, and how I'm using the dry brushing and everything to get rid of that congestion, to circulate, help my my lymphatic system circulate. So anyway, here is 11 atypical signs, because a lot of times when you look on these websites for chronic inflammation or lymphatic congestion, when they tell you the symptoms of it, they often don't include some of these that are listed on this article, because these are not the common ones. So most of them are listing common, and this is atypical, so the uncommon symptoms for lymphatic congestion. And so here we go. We've got low back pain. That's listed on our 98 symptoms for long haul COVID. Skin symptoms are listed on the long haul COVID survey. Swollen lymph nodes could be part of that. Excess mucus production. People were saying that they had, mucus in their throat. I know my mom had that throughout. She's had that for part of her long haul symptoms. Low energy, fatigue, of course, that's listed on that survey, but it's here as an atypical. Poor digestion, so people that aren't having an appetite, or they don't feel like eating, or they're having diarrhea, or they're having constipation, that kind of thing. GERD, that's interesting because that is also on the long haul COVID survey. And then balance problems, so balance problems are in your inner ear. Have everything to do with that. And so if you have your lymphatic system is congested, you might find that you have balance problems, and that's also ear problems were listed on the 98 symptoms for the long haulers. Insulin resistance, people having trouble with their high blood sugar, things like that, that's listed on there. Blood clotting problems, that's also an issue, because they found in some articles I read that the long haul COVID symptoms, they're having heart problems, pulmonary problems, breathing problems, that kind of thing. But also a lot of the patients had, some of them had blood clotting problems. So, but again, could be a problem of the congestion in your lymph system, can lead to that. So dry eyes was also listed as a symptom for long haulers, and here it is as a typical sign of lymphatic congestion. Brain fog, everybody's talking about the brain fog, which affects your memory, mental clarity, concentration, focus, all that kind of thing. So with the brain fog, that's also listed as an atypical sign of lymphatic congestion. So so really, all of these you can definitely see. The more you dig into the lymph system and chronic inflammation of the lymph system, you will have more and more of these signs and symptoms that you find for chronic inflammation, and you find for lymphatic congestion or lymphatic dysfunction, that those signs match up with all of the long haul COVID signs. So, and I believe probably some of the symptoms and signs that they're talking about to do with the heart, and anything cardiovascular, that also could be due to the fact that that's having to do with your cardiovascular system, with your blood, and the proteins are affecting the cardiovascular system, which they know with some new and recent research that I found, where, let's see, we've got this one here where it is, they're stating in this one, the novel coronavirus spike protein plays additional key role in illness. Scientists found that the spike proteins help the virus infect the person, and that it attacks the vascular system. So what they found here and what they're saying here is that right here it says a lot of people think it's a respiratory disease, but it's really a vascular disease. So that really has some big implications there, because if it's vascular initially, and especially in that acute phase, then if your lymph system is congested just even a little bit, it's not going to get out all of that protein out of your blood. It's not going to be able to excrete that out of your system. So if your lymph system is like that and it's not cleaning that blood out, then you're going to continue to have some vascular type symptoms. So something to keep in mind there. And this is the actual journal research article that they're talking about in that article I just showed. So that's there, and I can put that in the description box as well. And then there's also this article here, COVID-19 can affect the blood. Its spike protein may be the culprit. So again, with the long haulers, your virus is shut out. You shut it out. You've gotten it out of your body. It's the proteins. We need to be looking at the proteins. That's what's stuck in there. So I just found those very interesting, and I will again put these in the description box, and then you guys can take a look at those. Okay, and then this article right here, chronic inflammation, life extension. I really found that this one was super helpful because it really goes over everything more in depth, and but it's easier to it's pretty easy to understand. I think most anybody could read this and understand what's going on or what they're talking about, and or at least get the gist of it. So, but it goes over testing too that a person can do. Have go to the doctor, talk to your doctor about it. See if maybe you can't do some testing to see if you have chronic inflammation of your lymph system. What you need to keep in mind is that everything I'm reading, the chronic inflammation terminology, when they use those words, that means they're talking about the lymph system. So definitely keep that in mind. When you hear doctors saying chronic inflammation or inflammation, that's leading to directly to the lymph system. So because the lymph system causes inflammation, if a person has things in their body that it cannot get rid of, then it's going to become inflamed, and then it inflames other things, and you will have fluids on your organs. You could have fluids on your lungs. You could have fluids, dispersed everywhere in your body. Thus the, when you read those 98 symptoms, one of the symptoms was that a lot of people said was that it moves. That my symptoms move. One day their neck is hurting, the next day the knee is hurting, or what have you. The reason why it's moving is because your lymph system and your vascular system, they're constantly moving. They're your highways in your body. So it might have unclogged it somewhere in one part of your body, and then it moved it, as it's moving through that highway, it gets jammed up somewhere else. So as it's getting jammed up somewhere else, you're feeling inflammation there, you're feeling pain there. So definitely keep that in mind. But this one here is really, really good, and it talks about the inflammatory process, cellular degradation, markers and mediators of inflammation. So when they do blood testing and they do different tests on you to see if you have chronic inflammation or you have a problem with your lymph system, this article lists those markers that they look at for those tests, but it also lists the tests, so you could bring that up to your doctor, because I think long haulers really need to start considering getting tested for those things, working with your doctors on that, because the treatment's probably going to be somewhat different if they know that you have chronic inflammation due to COVID-19, due to the proteins. So they can start looking in that direction, because again, the medical community hasn't really caught up with that. I think there's some doctors out there saying it could possibly be due to inflammation, could be possibly due to your immune system continuing to react, because your immune system, that is your lymph system. Your lymph system is part of that. And as I said before in my previous video, if the lymph system is clogged up, you've got garbage in your system. And so you're drowning in things that are not good. So you have to get those out, because it's like a garbage disposal. You have to flush it out. And it talks about diet and many other things that contribute to chronic inflammation and congestion in the lymph system and blockages in the lymph system. So this one here, definitely read through it and go through it, because and it talks about the conventional medicine typically overlooks chronic inflammation. So this one here is also talking about that, how they treat the other things. They treat heart attack, they treat stroke, they treat diabetes, they treat those kinds of things because, or they look at those kind of things, but they don't look at, okay, we need to unclog your lymph system. Now, some people who, if they already have those diagnoses, obviously you have to be treated for those things. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be, but another thing to increase that health is to look at the lymph system. And with COVID-19, we've definitely got to look at that, because if we don't get that out of our bodies, we don't know what the long-term implications is for that. We could be the next, all the long haulers will be the next people that will have, if you don't have disease right now, you will down the road, because, very likely it's going to increase the risk anyway, that you will have those kinds of diseases like diabetes, like heart attack, like all of that, because we leave that in our bodies. So we've got to flush it out. Let's see, and then it talks about different medicines and things that can be used to help with the inflammation. So that, coupled with the protocol I'm doing, that may help. So, it's a flexible, my protocol is flexible. I, as a matter of fact, have just added a glutathione to my regimen, and I just started this last night, so I had to order it and get it in the mail. But I will let you guys know how that comes out. Glutathione is something that's made in the liver, and while in the liver, the liver puts it out. But if your liver is congested, it might not be putting out that much glutathione. And so the glutathione helps to clean out your lymph system. And it's an antioxidant. And I guess it's a pretty powerful one. So I'm started taking that, and I'm going to see how that goes. It's over the counter. You can buy it over the counter. I got it off of Amazon. I did get the spray kind. There are pill form, but I went ahead and got the spray kind so that it's absorbed in my system really easily. You do 6 sprays in your mouth twice a day. So I went ahead and did that. Now, if you're a long hauler and you're under doctor's care, that'd be something to talk about with your doctor, because if you're taking other medications, I don't know how all that affects everything. So, but I will let you know how it's working for me, maybe in a week or so, see how that's going. So anyway, and then it goes over the nutrients and the zinc, the vitamin E, the vitamin D, magnesium, how important those all are. And so this is a great article that you can look at. Real quick here, I'm going to go with here's additional signs and symptoms of clogged lymph nodes or congested lymph nodes or inflamed lymph nodes. You can see through all these that these are also listed. These are things, many of these are listed on the 98 symptom survey that we went over earlier. So there's also this website here, which is really good. It goes over lymphatic congestion and has some ideas about what to do about it, but also gives you a definition. I thought this was interesting here. There are approximately 6 to 10 liters of lymph in the body compared to 3.5 to 5 liters of blood. So we have a lot of lymph to get rid of the junk out of our blood. About 1 to 5 to 2 liters of lymph per day circulate throughout the whole body. If your lymph system is working efficiently, you can circulate from 10 to 30 liters per day. So lymph vessels slowly increase in size, moving lymph toward its entry into the circulatory system behind the heart. So this is going over all of this, and this I thought was really interesting. So we have to get our circulation of our lymph fluid moving, just like you do when you do cardiovascular exercise. You're increasing the circulation of your blood, and then the muscles also help to move the lymphatic fluid so that it's cleaning that blood out. It's cleaning. So get that COVID-19 protein out of your blood, get it into the lymphatic system, and then get it out of the lymphatic system. So we've got to do both. So anyway, that's the rest of this. But you can go ahead and read all those. Now this part here has signs and symptoms and indicators of lymphatic congestion. This I feel like is probably a little bit too sketchy. It's not enough information down here. There's so much more information they could have put underneath all these. Maybe this is a website that's a work in progress. I'm not sure. They could be adding more material to that, or more information, I should say, to that at some point. But down here, it gives you some ideas, but it's not as much as the upper half of this page. So, but anyway, I think I've pretty much covered what I need to cover for this video. Like I said, I'll put these in the description box, so please look there, and hope this information helps. And again, look at my videos that I did on the protocol that I'm using for long haul COVID, and to eliminate the junk out of my lymph system, and hopefully get those COVID-19 spike proteins out of there. So anyway, have a good day, and I will see you, or I guess I should say talk to you in the next video. All right, bye-bye. Have a great day.